Guys, welcome back to Code A, the GSL with Cullen Wolf, and we have a Zerg versus Zerg in our hands. To the bottom of the map, in the red, we have the MVP player. It is Sniper, and he is up against the Zerg for the TSL team. Here we have Sniper, and to the top of the map, the first map being Metropolis, is our blue Zerg player. It is TSL HyuN.
This is a game we've talked about actually a lot when talking about the TSL players, talking about HyuN specifically, how much he's prepared for this match, how confident he's felt. And I feel like, we don't know the Sniper side of the story as well. So, I'm sure he's been practicing really hard.
Oh, the thing of Sniper is actually, Sniper won in the first round against the Zerg player in quite convincing fashion. And when I met HyuN after the games, we talked a little bit. And he was like, well, on the one hand, he really feels confident about the match because he's been doing really well in ZVZ. He has a lot of great training partners, and he was able to defeat Sniper several times the ladder. But at the same time, he said that he thinks that Sniper is really good in the Zerg Mirror match, and especially when he's playing at GSL, that he's shown great games. So he was a little bit worried about the game. He was like, okay, I know that I'm good in this matchup, and I know that I have like very good conditions with all the Zerg players that I can train with, but at the same time, I really feel that Sniper is an awesome player, and that it's going to be so hard for me to defeat him. So while he's really confident in his own abilities, he is not really sure if he's actually able to overcome Sniper here.
Well, only time will tell. Right now, neither player is going to get a build order advantage over the other, as we've both players going hatch first. Sniper getting a slightly faster gas versus the faster pool of HyuN. And on a map like this one, this probably will not become important.
Not really. The thing is, you try to be a little bit greedy early on, and the greedier you get, the more vulnerable you are against early on attacks and early pools. But with the Overlords and everything, they are already in a good position.
And both of them stay out in cross, which is kind of cool, because their Overlords meet in the middle, and that's how they know their location.
The movement for the Overlord of HyuN, look actually at how his Overlord moved. You can see it on the minimap. He moved to the side a little bit first and then edges in at the natural. So this is already pretty tricky, because this will basically... What Sniper does is he sends his Overlord cross as well. But the Overlords don't meet, so Sniper might at first misjudge where exactly his opponent starts. So the movement here from HyuN's Overlords is actually really, really interesting, and adds a nice touch to the game already in the first few minutes.
That's a really good point. He did see it, but the attempt was definitely there to dodge in the middle. And now, of course, both players know what's up. But that's really cool. These little subtleties I really like with Overlord movements. It's a lot easier with the new speed change to do things like this, but we're going to see fairly even speed timings. Like I said, that's kind of the only variation. We see Baneling Nest going down faster for Sniper as well, who has that extra gas, not only for the speed, for the nest as well. And both players are going to have to make a Baneling Nest. So you've seen this actually in the past. One player tries to skip the Baneling Nest and just dies to an attack.
Once again, coming back to the Overlord movement, by the way, what it also does, at the same time, you want to try to have a look of your opponent starts to the left side of you. So if you are on close air position. So if you don't see an opposing Overlord, you kind of just think, well, there is no Overlord heading towards my base, so my opponent is not actually spawning close. You don't go into the position and scout the actual position itself, but you straight move down to the bottom of the map.
You're right, and that's pretty tricky. You have to balance that, hiding that, with also making sure your Overlord gets to your opponent's base as soon as possible so you can get that scout information that you need. And that's that type of balance that I really like. We see the Baneling Nest is going up for HyuN. He's not going to skip it entirely. Just getting a little bit later. Kind of playing a little bit greedier, I guess you could argue, but it's not too significant. Look at this. Speed being done now for HyuN as well. And with those two Zerglings fighting against each other, one had speed, one had the other, it shows that, well, it doesn't really matter who has the speed.
The fast attack here for Sniper at this point, and HyuN not only with the Baneling Nest, but also with the one Spine Crawler, being a little bit more defensive here.
You can see Sniper's gotten his Spine Crawler, he got it up a lot earlier, which was interesting to me considering how fast he got speed, but he didn't know his opponent's gas timing at that time.
Both approach this like really cautious, and it's definitely this is going to be a very tough match. CVZ in general is, and if you don't pay attention to what's happening, you can lose the game in a split second. But especially how the macro game actually progressed in this, we are getting a little more away from the mass roach play. We might still see this on this map, but in the past we had a lot of Ultralisks, a lot of Brood Lords, a lot of just late game Zerg versus Zerg, and I enjoy this quite a bit.
Yeah, most people I would think agree with you. It's changed a little bit recently, especially these faster lair timings that we're starting to see. HyuN is going for that Roach Warren, but Sniper is going to be going for Spire. And against Roach Warren with no Infestation Pit to support, it's going to be hard to defend, but he'll likely drop an Infestation Pit very soon here, if not immediately, as his lair is also finished. If he doesn't do that, and he tries to hold this third base, Sniper is just going to continue to attack it with Speedlings until his Muse are out, and then once his Muse are out, he's going to continue to put pressure on that base while he takes his own third. And since the rush distance on this map is so far, if he actually gets an early lead with that, it's going to be hard for HyuN to catch up.
Spire is something that we see a lot more often just in the last few weeks. There's already the Infestation Pit for HyuN as an answer, and this is the exact reason why for quite a long time we did not have any kind of Mutalisk play in Zerg versus Zerg, because most players just figured, okay, well, if my opponent has actually the first Infestors out on the map, I cannot make this work. But if you actually control your Mutalisks really well, you split them, you make sure that the single fungal is not able to catch all of them, you can make this work against Infestors as well. You can apply some pressure, so this is really nice, but it depends on unit control, as so many things in StarCraft 2 actually do.
Oh, good Baneling hit there defensively for HyuN, and this actually puts him in a huge lead in supply. He's actually taken out so many Banelings of his opponent cost efficiently. And the idea for Sniper here, like I mentioned before, is just to put some pressure on that hatchery with some Speedlings, and not even necessarily kill it right away, but then follow up with your Mutas and kill those. And he's got his first few Mutas on the way right now. I think he's making, just 5. Going up to 6 now, but since he didn't do as much damage as he wanted, this is not a comfortable position for him because his Roaches are really late. He's just now starting his Warren, but what I really like is that he has +1 already preparing for the transition. This is something that happens to a lot of Zerg players, where when they don't make the Roach Warren right away, they don't keep up with their upgrades, and their opponent hits them with a fast +2 Roach timing, for example.
He knows about the Mutalisks now, and where are the Infestors? He needs to build them immediately. Spore Crawlers are already being built for HyuN, and this is important, but where are the Infestors? He has Pathogen Glands nearly done, so he can start to build them. He has the gas as well, but he's a bit supply blocked. He's at 100 of 102. The Spore Crawlers and 2 Queens are all that he relies on as of now.
This Roach push is going to be slightly shut down by these Mutas. So he's going to try to send a scout squad in here, but it's going to actually be denied by these Zerlings as well.
It's actually really smart. This way he's able to save a lot of his Roaches, so he kind of sends a few of them in. He realized, oh, well, my Roaches are going to be attacked. Either I try to go for it and just trade a little bit, try to kill something, but at the same time we'll lose every single Roach that I've got, so I will send in a few, do some damage, and force my opponent to just defend and can save the rest of my Roaches. So it was a nice decision of HyuN. He had to decide for... Well, basically, he had to make a decision here and decided to go for the lesser evil.
Yeah, and, that saved him a lot of time as well. The Mutas were not breathing down his neck with this attack, but here he comes. Now he's breathing down his neck, and he's going to target down these Spore Crawlers immediately. The Queen is taken out, and actually he's going for Roaches rather than the Spore Crawler, losing a lot of Mutas here, and the Infestors are out. He needs to be careful.
He needs to be very careful that doesn't get fungal at the same time. A nice control for Sniper. And there are still 2 Lings going strong. 0 workers killed thus far, but there the first one dies. And the Queen takes down Zergling after Zergling. With the upgrades that HyuN has, he's obviously already able to just 2-shot one of the Lings. Does not need 3 shots to take one of them down. But yes, the Infestors are going to be a problem. And Sniper is adding Infestors as well, but the big problem that he's facing at this point in time is that the Infestor count for HyuN is already at 4. He's getting additional 4, and right now every single Infestor that's on the map for HyuN is already gathering up energy.
I really like the transition for Sniper. He's doing it so flawlessly. He's already got +2 way ahead of HyuN coming out here. And he's continuing to clean up the creep. Why? Because he knows he's a little bit vulnerable with the Infestor count the way it is, the way his opponent's Roach count likely is. He's like, well, I don't want you to attack me, so I'm going to keep pushing your creep back while I prepare at home. He's already got, +2 finishing up, like I mentioned earlier. He's getting Overlord speed, which is kind of interesting. But the big problem, like you mentioned, though, is the Infestors. With the Infestor count and the amount of energy he has, he's going to have way less fungals than Sniper. And that's one of the reasons why he wants to buy time right now.
With the Overlord speed, he will be able to bring his Overlords to safety when the Mutalisks attack. At the same time, he could actually bring a couple of Overlords just to spread creep and give the Oh, sorry, I just mixed the production tabs up. I actually thought that HyuN was going for the speed and might bring 1 or 2 to support the Hydralists a little bit, but it is actually Sniper who upgrades the speed upgrade.
Yeah, and then speaking of Hydralists, that's something that Sniper also does not have right now. He's going to actually try to kill some workers here. He knows the mutas are never going to be useful in a real fight later on, so all that they're ever going to be useful for now is clearing up creep, killing overlords, or trying to harass drones. If he uses multiple fungals to kill these mutas, that's actually going to be something that Sniper's totally fine with, because he knows these mutas aren't going to accomplish much else. He's not going to be able to like set up a flank against roaches that are undefended or something, especially with his mutas count being down as low as just 5 here.
And he can actually get away. Those Hydralists didn't do too much damage, but now suddenly he's starting to attack here. 5 workers killed, 6, 7. There's a lot of that Sniper can actually accomplish. He's at the 3rd right now, attacking, and he killed 12 already. This is quite a significant amount of damage. At the same time, the main battle is going to occur, though, and here they are, fungals for everybody. A ton of infested swarm eggs being dropped too, and HyuN might be able to get the better end of this fight. He has so many infestors, he's kind of running out of energy right now, but already ahead in overall supply as Sniper lost a huge chunk of his army and is now down to 76 army supply against 110.
Yeah, he's starting to look a little bit desperate here, trying to pull back to his spine crawlers and catch some of the smaller forces of HyuN's roaches, the reinforcing roaches. But there's just so much out here for HyuN. I don't know if he can defend, not with this many Hydras and the infested Terrans that are still adding some DPS in here. He's actually cut his units apart as well. He's losing infestors, and HyuN actually may just kill him here. It's starting to look very likely.
This is so much, and if he's able to take down those 2 hatches, this will also, of course, lessen the production abilities of Sniper. And there's the GG as HyuN takes him down.
Great Mutalist opening from Sniper. The transitions were quite nice, but the infestors and the positioning in that last battle really decided it for HyuN. And I have to say, I think HyuN knew exactly how to take this game. He saw what his opponent was doing and he reacted accordingly. He got his infestation pit up as soon as he could. He kept up with his upgrades, even though Sniper was spot on with his. I think he saw the creep was being destroyed, and he was like, "You're trying to prevent me. You're like so actively attacking my creep that you really don't want me to attack you now. And I know I probably have infestors before you because you went for muta attack and you spent a lot of gas on those mutas. I'm going to attack you now." He hit with a nice timing. His positioning was good, and he really punished him. Well, I don't know if punish is the right word, but he certainly hit the timing that he knew was there.
He knew that he had the infestors out earlier than his opponent, therefore he had more energy on the infestors. He had more infestors, and more energy equals more infested Terrans, also a lot more fungals. And this is exactly what he used here to take Sniper down. His timing was well chosen. Before that, he made sure that that Sniper could not actually take down too many drones. He got the 3rd a little bit earlier. There were just a lot of small advantages that he had, and they added up over time and allowed him to hit this timing. So this was really well done by HyuN, and he takes game number 1, and now map number 2 is already loading. It's gonna be Cloud Kingdom. This is the map for our 2nd game between Sniper and HyuN today.
Yep, we're jumping into it right away, right now. Here at the GSL Code A. This is, of course, the 2nd round, the round of 32, our morning session. Let's jump into the game right away.